The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
And welcome to your Friday.
Welcome to Freedom Friday.
Yes, indeed. It is Freedom Friday today. Friday, June number 2 in the year of our Lord 2017. We take things a little bit lighter today. Got a bunch of funny stuff on this climate change thing. The Paris Accord. You're not going to believe how some of these people have gone totally bat-you-know-what crazy over this. It's incredible. That plus a bunch of other stuff today. We've got the Rant of the Week coming up in the second hour. All kinds of stuff planned for you to get ready to enjoy your weekend. Don't you feel just a little bit more freedom this morning, knowing that the president has pulled us out of this wonderful Paris Climate Accord? 603-835-3226 is the call-in number today. Don't forget, Fridays is also Anything Goes. That's what Freedom Friday is all about. Express your mind, what's on your mind, your opinion on just about any subject under the sun. In this particular case, it could be, with Paris Climate Accord, it could be science, or rather pseudoscience, fake science, faux science, whatever kind of science that they're using in order to perpetuate this fraud upon not just the people of the US of A, but the entire world. Do you know how you're doing the right thing? Now, I know that, one of the things that's really funny about this Paris is that the liberal media is making sure that that Donald Trump is going along with Syria and Nicaragua in not signing this treaty or not going along with this accord. Yes, do you know that we are now in the company of the evil state of Syria and the evil Central American dictatorship state of Nicaragua? Well, let me ask you, following this stupid Paris Accord, how's it working out for Venezuela? Just asking. Are they a part of this? They might be one of the receiverships. See, there's going to be something called donor countries, basically. In other words, the rest of the poorer countries of the world get to siphon off our wealth with this deal. A lot of people don't realize that, but what a lot of people also didn't realize is when Obama signed on to this thing. Did you know that this just wasn't for poor countries? No. That's what they made it sound like. They made it sound like this was for poor countries. Obama had committed the USA to send over $3 billion annually to poor countries who are trying to develop their economies and not use fossil fuels. Oh, God forbid they use fossil fuels to bring themselves into the 20th century. Oh, wait, we're in the 21st century, right? Yeah. Well, there are third world countries that aren't even in the 20th century yet. How did we get to be the way how did the Western world or the first world countries get to be first world countries? Oh, because of what? Oil. Yeah, oil. That evil stuff that comes out of the ground that isn't natural. Oh, wait, no, the earth makes it. We don't. So it is natural. Yeah, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. Oil is not natural, Rod. It's not natural. Oh, really? So mankind somehow, out of nothing, makes oil and then pumps it into the ground only to pump it back out again. Would you believe that there are some people who believe that? There are some wacko, they do not believe oil is natural. Well, no, it's crude oil is natural. Well, sure, we process it into a myriad of things. For not just, by the way, oil is not just utilized and used for energy and transportation. Oh no, oil is in, oil and oil byproducts are in everything from fertilizer to foodstuffs to medicine to paints to plastics to rubbers. Those rubber tires that you use on your bicycle, yeah, that's made from oil. Yeah, so oil is the lifeblood of modern society. Even if we stop using it to produce, a fuel as a fuel source for our cars and for heating our homes, there's still going to be a need for oil. We're still going to be pumping it out of the ground because there are so many other uses. I can't remember. It's in the number of uses for oil is in the thousands actually for what we use it today for. And no. Most of those things cannot be replaced by natural. Sure, maybe, if you want to grow a myriad of trees, you can get natural rubber. So you can replace a good portion of, I don't think we can grow enough trees to meet the demand for rubber, but you can replace rubber with natural rubber. Not oil rubber with tree rubber. But there's not enough trees to do that. And you can't do that with everything that we make out of oil. There isn't a natural alternative. We'll have to come up with something different. Well, how about we come up with something different first that actually works? But one of the poor countries that would receive some of our money and money from the other donor nations. Now, are you sitting down? You waiting for this? Yeah, China. Oh, yeah, the world's second largest economy. Is considered to be poor enough to get in on this slush fund. This was nothing more than a transfer of wealth to punish the United States. Supposedly, this was there was this whole pledge to give from the more wealthy nations like France and Britain. I'm surprised they haven't pulled out yet. Well, not France, but I'm surprised Britain has, since they're pulling out of the EU. I'm surprised they haven't pulled out of the Paris Accord. Prime Minister May should look into that. But they pledged $100 billion a year. Where's this money going to go? Keep in mind that the United States has one of the cleanest environments among the industrialized world. We do. And we are working without this Paris Accord to make it even cleaner, to go even more green. So, no, we're not the greenest country on the planet. But hey, we've got this isn't Iceland. Iceland has 350,000 people total in its entire population? But they have there is a cost even in Iceland for going green. Oh, you see, everybody thinks green is just so wonderful and beautiful. Let me tell you something about the beautiful, beautiful little protectorate of Iceland. Yeah, people don't even know that Iceland is still a Dutch territory. Yeah, it's owned by the Dutch, basically. But Iceland, that wonderful little island up there in the North Atlantic. That wonderful little island up there in the North Atlantic. They've got some problems on their hand. Sure, all of their electricity is so-called green electricity, but do you know how they're getting that? Now, you ask most people across the planet, I'm sure, but you ask most people in the U.S. of A., and they think, oh, they get it from the ground. It's a steam powered, thermal. No. Iceland hasn't built a new thermal plant, electric producing plant, in a couple of decades. Did you know that? You know where they're getting all their new electricity from? They're getting it from damming up rivers. Yeah, they're building dams by the dozens. And here's the other thing: because of all this, green energy that they have by dam, there's a couple of things that's happening in Iceland. One, the country is well employed because they're now a lot of the world's aluminum companies, think Alcoa, have plants there because the electricity is so cheap because they just build dams. There is one particular Alcoa aluminum producing plant, and aluminum takes a hell of a lot of electricity to make aluminum, which is why it is so profitable to recycle aluminum, because to make it from scratch is just extremely expensive as far as energy is concerned. But Iceland has got all these dams up there now, and so it's cheap. The energy is cheap. There's a couple of problems with that, though. That there is one particular Alcoa aluminum plant. They built a new dam. All the electricity from that dam goes to that one plant. All of it. Here's the problem. By building all those wonderful dams, they are disappearing their highland plains. I mean, you've got activists in Iceland that are saying no more dams, no more dams. We can't afford any more dams. And they want to build even more dams. Even higher up into the no man's land of Iceland. There's only a very small stretch of Iceland is populated. There is tons of land on the interior that is not populated. And these dams keep going up these rivers farther and farther up into this no man's wilderness land. And it's flooding it because they're creating these artificial man-made lakes behind these dams in order to power the aluminum plants. See, all the people of Iceland, their energy needs have been met. I mean, these people could actually, they don't got to worry about insulating their house. Really, tell you the truth. I mean, they do, but they don't have to worry because their electricity is so cheap. Just about everybody heats their home either by the steam that's produced that comes up from these the geothermal plants or electricity. Right? What's next? You would think that the one place, and here's the thing with all this other stuff. When it comes I got some stuff on this alternative stuff, folks. You got to stick with me. This is going to be good today. You would think that with all that cheap electricity, that Iceland would go all electric, as in their vehicles. Did you know that they don't? There are hardly any electric vehicles on the road in Iceland. Why? Well, because of Iceland's climate, for one. The Icelanders say they don't work. Wait. You've got electricity that is far cheaper than importing diesel and gasoline, and you won't go to electric vehicle? Oh, yeah, contrast that with India saying that by 2030, all cars in India sold from 2030 on are going to be electric. Yeah. But Iceland, you think that the perfect economy to have electric everything won't go electric vehicle. Now, I'm wondering, Iceland right now, I do believe, has the world's cheapest electricity rates. So if Iceland won't go all electric in their vehicles, what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with electric vehicles? You gotta wonder.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0 Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shave brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around while primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Avon Shave gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
(603-835-3226). If you ever get cold, there's two things that'll warm you up. And that is good Scotch whiskey and some Spanish music. I know the Spaniards don't drink whiskey, but Americans do. So combine the two and you should be nice and warm. You don't need to have any Paris Accord for that one. Just saying. On a cold winter day, try it. Try dancing out to some Spanish music while drinking some good Scotch whiskey and see if your insides are not warm. They will be. Guarantee it. Speaking of weather, My goodness gracious. Good heavens to Murgatroyd. What cartoon was that from? Heavens to Murgatroyd. I can't, my Saturday morning cartoons, I'm starting to lose it at this late stage in life. I'm starting to remember where all these things come from that I picked up from cartoons. I'm starting to turn into a full-fledged adult. Oh, no. But the Weather Channel has totally lost their minds. It is unbelievable. These people have totally wigged out. I am not, by the way, speaking of oil, the Dakota Access Pipeline, you know, the one where you had all those wonderful liberal snowflakes up there protesting and trying to block the pipeline, and they created a bunch of trash. I mean, it took loads and loads of garbage dumps or garbage trucks to haul out all the trash that they left behind. Yeah, because they said oil was dirty. They were dirty in the oil. Well, that's now starting to, oil is starting to flow through that pipeline. Yeah, I guess they won that one. Yeah, according to the Free Beacon, the Dakota Access Pipeline starts shipping oil. So the Dakota Access Pipeline started shipping oil yesterday to contractors between North Dakota and Illinois, so reported the Associated Press in a press release issued by the pipeline. The developer, Energy Transfer Partners, successfully completed building the $3.8 billion pipeline earlier in May. The pipeline, which stretches 1,172 miles long, is expected to carry 570,000 barrels of oil per day. Now, the pipeline has partnered with the Illinois to Texas Energy Transfer crude oil pipeline and already has a commitment of 520,000 barrels per day from shippers. So it is coming online. They didn't win that one. But the Weather Channel, I mean, they basically go apocalyptic over the, you know, well, let me just play you something here. Let me give you let's see, clip number 3 here. Let's go.
Has pulled out of the Paris Global Climate Agreement. This not only contradicts the 197 nations that signed the agreement, it has major ramifications that go way beyond U.S. politics. Here's the science. Our climate is changing. It is happening now, and it is happening rapidly. Sea levels have risen.
Oh, yeah, our climate is changing. It always has changed. That's the dirty little secret. It's always been changing. It's never been static. Never. And just because 196, well, but look, if you didn't sign on to the Paris Accord and you were a poor country, you didn't get any money. If you were a poor country and you were promised bagfuls of money, wouldn't you sign on? I would. If I were a little potentate or dictator of, some podunk little banana republic, I'd sign on if they were going to send me money every year. This is just bullshit.
8 inches since 1880 and are expected to increase.
Oh, no. The ocean levels have not risen 8 inches since 1880. Now, notice, folks, we're going to get into all of this as the program unfolds today. They're going back to the 1800s about all of this global warming stuff. The problem is that the great revolution in industry didn't happen until the latter half of the 1800s. So are you telling me that the first few years of spewing so-called pollutants and CO2 into the atmosphere dramatically changed the climate? If that's the case, then we should all be underwater right now. We should all be dead. They think they're smart by taking this back. Well, no, it was starting before we even thought it started. Man, this goes back to the 1880s to the 1860s. There was no industry. It was just getting started. Does anybody else pick up on this BS? The ocean levels have risen. How did they measure the ocean levels back in 1880? You know how we do it today? So-called satellite measurements. How the hell did they do it back in 1880? Anybody know? I don't know. We're never told about that science. And these people they keep going. But we will, I should have waited until after this break. We're going to get to the rest of that clip after the break. Folks, you're not going to believe just how loony the Weather Channel is now. By the way, the Weather Channel was started by by somebody who does not believe in man-made global climate change at all.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
603-834-3226, or excuse me, 835-3226. Yeah, no wonder I couldn't remember that Snagglepuss was the one that said heavens to Murgatroyd. He's also the one that said exit, stage left. I used to watch all those Saturday morning cartoons. Kids don't watch cartoons. Did you notice that there are no... there are times I get up on Saturday morning, and I just want to be a little kid, eat a bowl of cereal, and watch cartoons. There aren't any cartoons on. You literally got to go to Hulu and Netflix to get Saturday morning cartoons. That's just sad. What are these kids watching? All this other... there is a lot of stuff, like... I don't know if Kratz Creatures is still on. There's a lot of stuff like that on. Like this indoctrinating stuff, how evil people are to the world of animals. That's all those shows are. How bad... Basically, it's telling you how bad we are to animals. And that man should be nicer and you want to talk about hypocritical? We have these environmentalist wackos out there who are all against so-called urban sprawl. Urban sprawl and suburban life and everything. You want to cut down a tree to put up, to put up houses or something? No, they chain themselves to trees, right? But when you say okay, so we'll all move back to the city then and leave the outskirts alone. They're not building any houses for people to live in or apartments to live in a lot of inner cities. And so rents are going through the roof. So where the hell are people supposed to live? Well, we need to reduce our population. Well, until we get to a negative population growth, Johnny Stupid, where are all the living supposed to live? They're just supposed to die? I thought you were all about humans. Being kind to one another. And giving money from successful people to poor people. If you don't want people to live out in what you call the wilderness, if you don't want to expand suburbia and build new housing developments, if you want everybody to go back and live in the cities and leave the rest of the world alone, you got to have some place for them to live. If they're not going to be able to live there, then what? They're supposed to, I guess they're just going to have to die. So if you want people to die off, why do you keep propping up poor people? Hey, I know this is going to come across as me sounding cruel, but let's just take it to their extreme, shall we? This should be, they should all be like Scrooge. Let them die and die quickly then to reduce the surplus population. Why are we propping up and keeping poor people alive if you want everybody to move into the city, but not everybody can move in the city because you won't allow them to build any more houses? So that means we got to get rid of the extra people. Well, who are the extra people to get rid of? All the poor people living out in rural communities that are destroying the beautiful earth and killing off the animals. How does you can't win with the liberal. You cannot speak logic to these people. You will go insane. I'm just warning you. Don't argue with them. Just if you get into a discussion, quote unquote, with a liberal, explain the logic and the facts and let it go. Because you cannot argue with them because they're just stupid as hell. It's ridiculous. I mean, on one hand, you got them saying, well, we should reduce and leave all the wilderness alone and stop building, houses and new communities. Everybody should move back to the cities. Okay. Well, there are no houses. San Francisco. When was the last time they built a new apartment complex or high-rise, residential high-rise in San Francisco? It's been years. And yet they complain that the cost of housing in San Francisco proper is shooting through the roof. Well, the demand is high because evidently everybody's following all that logic. Let's move to the city, honey, so we can save the wilderness. Well, there's no place for them to move to. So you got all these people competing for such few available apartments that the price goes through the roof. Supply and demand. This is how you know that liberals do not understand simple economics 101. They don't understand it. They don't know it. Because if they paid attention to it, they wouldn't believe 99% of the crap that they believe. Because it makes no sense. It's the same thing with the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel, of all places, that was started by a man, a meteorologist and a scientist, a climatologist who knows weather patterns and knows weather history, didn't believe in this global warming and global cooling stuff. It's the global cooling back. I still have people today argue with me and tell me that no, it was never global cooling. There are newspaper articles and papers from scientific experts back in the 60s and 70s that called it global cooling. That's what the stupid cartoon by Dr. Seuss, the incredible Mr. Lorax, was all about. That 30-minute cartoon special that they showed every freaking year during most of the 70s. Notice it disappeared. They stopped showing it when they changed the term from global cooling to global warming in the 80s. They stopped. You didn't see it anymore. It wasn't on TV. I think it came on in the fall. Every year was on in the fall. Right after a Charlie Brown special. Oh, I heard, one of my favorite specials as a kid was Ricky Tikki Tavi. You may remember that. Well, I heard a couple of months ago why they stopped showing Ricky Tikki Tavi. Because it made people afraid of snakes. And remember the movie Jaws? Well, after Jaws, people went out hunting great white sharks. Same thing with Ricky. It caused kids to grow up to want to be snake hunters. You can't hunt snakes. Oh my God, no, snakes are not evil. So, and they said that was partly due to Ricky. I'm not making this stuff up, folks. I wish I could. Just like I can't wait. Let's get back to this Weather Channel clip. I can't make this stuff up either. I mean, these people are just. I'm going to try to let the entire clip play before I tear them apart by their own logic.
Has pulled out of the Paris Global Climate Agreement. This not only contradicts the 197 nations that signed the agreement, it has major ramifications that go way beyond U.S. politics. Here's the science. Our climate is changing, it is happening now, and it is happening rapidly. Sea levels have risen 8 inches since 1880 and are expected to increase another 1 to 4 feet by 2100.
I'm sorry. I can't go. I can't let it go. Did you realize what she just said? Ocean levels have risen 8 inches since 1880. And what is that, 130 years ago? And over the next 80 years, it's supposed to rise. Now, in 130, it's only gone up 8 inches, according to them. But in the next 80 years, it's supposed to rise 1 to 4 feet. Forget the fact that the real science says that there has not been that kind of a rise in the ocean levels. As a matter of fact, there have been some years over the past 20 years where the ocean levels have actually dipped. Why? Because there's been a ton of ice produced on the poles. Well, the ice has got to come from somewhere, right? It's amazing how whenever the ice caps melt, it raises the ocean levels. But whenever the ice caps expand, the ocean levels never seem to fall. How is that possible again? I did. By the way, did you know that there are scientists that really believe that there was a major impact some 15,000, not very long ago, about 15,000 years ago? A major impact from a meteor. Now they're not sure where it impacted, but they're saying that a major impact caused a slight shift, just a few degrees, in the Earth's axis in order to shift, and there was a great tectonic plate shift. and it shoved a green Antarctic continent down into the South Pole region, and that while the Earth was shifting its pole axis because of this strike, which then plunged a very green and tropical continent into frozenness. So, well, hey, I guess that was man's fault too, but let's continue.
Flood risk increases. Droughts and heat waves will become more intense. Wildfires will no longer have a season.
Is there a wildfire season? No, wildfires happen anytime. Well, unless there's snow and rain in the ground. There's a wildfire season. Did you know that? There won't be a season anymore. In other words, somehow forest will instantaneously combust when it's raining and when there's snow on the ground. When there's 5 feet of snow. Yeah, there's a lot of these places where there's a so-called, where we have forest fires, a lot of it in the winter gets a lot of snow. But I guess we're not going to have any snow anymore. Well, I wish you would tell that to the Great Plains and the upper Midwest that every year seem to be breaking records of snowfall. And wait, what is that snow made out of? Oh yeah, this is Earth Science 101 too. Yeah, it's water, frozen water falling from the sky. I mean, look, we just got so much rain out in California that in one season, it erased a many years drought in California. Here in New England, same thing. It wasn't even the end of April when just about every community across New England that was under this drought kind of conditions lifted there were some communities that refused that didn't want to lift their drought restrictions. You know why? Because if we lift, and I quote, and this was a town in Massachusetts. Oh, what was it? Is it Amesbury, Mass? There's a town in Massachusetts. The reason the town father said they originally would not lift the drought restrictions, and I quote, because people would then waste water. We got an abundance of it all of a sudden, but we're going to waste it. Oh yeah, we don't want people watering their lawns and gardens and washing their cars. Oh hell no, that's just wasting water. She continued on the Weather Channel.
The rate of growth of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere in the last 40 years is unprecedented. The U.S. and China...
Oh, I guess she doesn't know about that time in the Earth's climate when it was all about CO2 in the atmosphere. Yeah, that's really. It was all about CO2. Tons of CO2. This planet has never seen so much CO2. Really? I learned in Earth science that the planet, there was once more CO2 than oxygen. And that it took the growth of plants in order to bring the CO2 levels down and raise the levels of oxygen. Sorry, folks, I'm trying to let this play through, but every time I hear this again, it just triggers me into their BS. We got to get through this.
Jointly announced their ratification of the Paris Agreement, leading the way for 125 other countries that have ratified to work toward the global goal of capping temperature rise to 2 degrees Celsius in this century by reducing CO2 emissions. Now, while this does not solve the climate issue, it would have a tremendous help. And we've done this successfully in the past. Remember the panic over the hole in the ozone layer? Every country in the UN signed the Montreal Protocol in 1987, leading to a major reduction in chlorofluorocarbons that were eating away at the ozone. The result...
Okay. I'm sorry. This whole ozone layer thing, that was a farce too. But here's the deal. Here's the proof that it was a farce. Remember when they said that the ozone layer was going to, if the ozone layer, we had holes in it, and if it expanded, that people were going to get massive amounts of skin cancer and people were going to die. In order to reduce the amount of skin cancer, we were going to need to repair the ozone layer. And how to do that is getting rid of chlorofluorocarbons. Well, we've done that. And as you just heard her say, yes, the ozone layer has repaired itself and is going to be completely whole pretty soon, because we've done such wonderful work and stopped destroying it. Yet skin cancer rates all over the planet continue to rise. As the ozone layer gets thicker and repairs itself, more and more people are getting skin cancer. Well, how is that possible if it was protecting us from getting it in the first place?
Our ozone layer has rebounded and is expected to make a full recovery. Blowback from this move goes way beyond the science community. The renewable energy economy is expected to be worth $6 trillion by 2030. The U.S. leaving this agreement opens the door for any of the 196 other countries to become world economic leaders. Bottom line, our planet continues to warm, ice sheets continue to melt, science screams the truth regardless of politics.
None of that is true. None of that is true. The worst part about it is they know it's not true, and yet they foist this bullshit upon us every single day. The science does not support any of their theories. It never has, because every single damn time they talk about some cataclysmic event happening, it never, ever happens. Never. And some of the things that actually get repaired on our planet, they say, well, if we repair it, it's going to reduce this and reduce that and it doesn't happen even when we repair it. So bottom line is, science is telling us, their own science, because they've been wrong so many times, is that we're not the cause.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
I got so many. I don't normally do a lot of clips in this program, but I got so many clips on people just going totally bazonkers yesterday on the Trump's Paris Accord decision. I could do a whole show on it. But so I had to try to pick some of the best ones. Here's one from Tom Steiner. I mean, he basically says that Trump is being dishonest in that it's the same thing as war. Trump declared war on the world.
Well, I think that this decision and this speech was dishonest, destructive, and entirely inconsistent. And I think that the American business community has already started to speak and spoke out before.
Yeah, the American business community loves this idea. The stock market is going through the roof. There are tons and tons of businesses that are going to be able to expand and hire more people because of it. The only people who don't like it are people like Elon Musk who have a hand in perpetrating. They stand to make a lot of money by perpetrating this global warming fraud. But I digress. I got to get through this.
For the speech requesting the president not withdraw from Paris. But I think if you look at that speech, it was a very dishonest statement of either we can have jobs or we can protect our environment and have a healthy future. And that is a contrast and a distinction that has been laid to rest long ago. That is.
Oh, you mean by all of those wonderful, all the wonderful solar panel companies that went bankrupt and laid off tons of, well, it wasn't thousands, just a few hundred people. Because the green energy industry doesn't create jobs.
An absolute lie. We can have a vibrant jobs economy. We can create millions of net new jobs out of clean energy and protect our environment at the same time.
Tom, what specifically was the most, in your view, dishonest thing President Trump said there?
Well, I think that there were three basic lies that he went with. We've done a study with Mike Bloomberg and Hank Paulson of the impact of moving to a clean economy, and it creates net millions of new jobs.
Oh, forget it. I can't even go through the whole damn thing. I've listened to this before, and it just sends me off the edge. Bloomberg. They've done a study with Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg. Can you folks believe this? And so you have Elon Musk, who's pulling out of one of Trump's counsels, along with Iger from Disney is pulling out because these people. Now, I'm sorry, but the one industry that cannot talk about climate change and global warming is the entertainment industry, specifically movie industry. Why? Because they're the biggest waste there is on the planet. Folks, I love movies. I do. But when it comes right down to it, what do? They use a lot of energy and a lot of materials. They destroy a lot of stuff. What? Just for pure entertainment. We don't like using, we have all these leftists that don't like using animals for entertainment, but they will just go ahead and blow up buildings and for real, blow up buildings, cars, chop down trees, make these fake sets in the middle of nowhere. And for what? Just to entertain us. There is no real use for them. And they will do it over. And how many movies across the planet do they produce on an annual basis? Thousands of them. And yet this is you got some guy who's the head of a major studio that is in the top 5 movie producing studios on the planet. And yet he's going to pull out because of global warming?
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. the Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an A-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Yes, it is Friday here on the Rod Eccles Show.
Welcome to Freedom Friday.
Yes, indeed. Now, we like to take things a little bit lighter here on Fridays, as all you regulars know, but for you new listeners, it means just about anything goes. The call-in number is 603-835-3226, and you can talk about just about anything under the sun that you want to. Keep it clean, please. Don't forget to send me your question to ask Rod anything. You can send that question either tweeting me with the hashtag #BringingTheRain, or at Rod Eccles, at Rod Eccles over there on Twitter. Or you can email that question to rod@rodeccles.net. But first of all, we have to get to today's rant, and it's a rather long one, and it just goes back to prove what I said was true about snowflakes, even before we called them snowflakes. Rant of the week from June. Was it June? It's it's from March of 2015.
The Alaskans, or is it Alaskanites? I don't know. The Alaskans, the people of Alaska, who live in Alaska, love Alaska, they're very self-reliant. They take care of themselves. They really do. They don't depend on anybody. Well, indeed, depending on where they live, unless they're living right in the city propers up there, like Fairbanks or Nome or something, there is nobody to take care of them. There are no government services up there or out there. So they have to be responsible for themselves. And that's the true American way. By the way, if you want to call the show tonight, it's 603-835-3224. That's 603-835-3224. That is a toll-free call, by the way. But, speaking of personal responsibility, there's this issue with, there are people out there, and I'm talking about the liberal left, who seem to believe, for whatever reason, and there are a myriad of reasons for them to feel the way that they feel when it comes to personal responsibility. But the problem isn't those people who want government to take care of people. No, that's not really the problem. On the surface, it is. But when you start peeling back, the layers of onion, if you will. Anybody remember Shrek? Said, ogres are like onions. Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Well, this whole issue of self-reliance, self-responsibility, and who's at fault has many layers. And trust me, all those layers are just as pungent as an onion. Yeah, those reasons stink. The case is that you have a generation, or two now, where everybody thinks that something is owed to them. I mean, let's face it. They've taken their childhood into adulthood. Now, when you're a child, I was discussing this with a friend earlier today. When you're a child, you think and you speak as a child, obviously. But when you become an adult, you're supposed to think and think as an adult and put those childish ways behind you. The problem is that today's kids, like every generation, well, in the United States, a lot of the last few generations in the United States, the children have been rather spoiled because each successive generation, their children have had it better than their parents did when they were kids. Nothing wrong with that. That is the true human condition. You want your offspring to have it better than you did. That's just the natural yearning of wanting something better for your children and your grandchildren. Everybody wants that. Well, unless there's something wrong with you. Unless you're just a total jerk. But you want your kids and your grandkids to have a better lifestyle, a better education than you did. Well, we've gotten to a point now where it becomes increasingly more difficult to do better than your parents. Because your parents, they've gotten a good education. They've got their bachelor's degrees, probably their master's degrees. Now, they have the big house. It's a 3 or 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2.5 car garage. It's about 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. Parents have got it. Kids, spend a good time of their childhood growing up in a house like that. And a lot of times, even if the parents split up, like divorce, they're still residing in that house. So they still have it better than their parents probably did, because their parents, they probably grew up in a much smaller 3-bedroom home. Maybe it had 1 or 1.5 baths. And it was a 1-car garage. You know the type of thing. Think A Christmas Story, a house in Illinois, in A Christmas Story. Nice house, but it's not the average house that we think of today. That was very middle class back then. That was even white collar middle class. Today, that's lower in blue collar. And middle class white collar and even middle class blue collar, because some of these plumbers can make 6 figures, but middle class blue, they're living a much better lifestyle. And that's translating over to their kids, and their kids are being spoiled.
By the way, this is from BTR Blog Talk Radio, so excuse the quality of this recording.
They expect to have the latest new cell phone. They expect to have the brand new tablet or iPad. They expect to have the iPod. They expect to have the latest and bestest and greatest in stereophonic gear. They're expecting to have the next generation of laptop or desktop computer. They got to have the Abercrombie and Fitch. Or whatever the big name of clothing is today, PacSun or something. The places where you go into and you see a hoodie for $100. Yeah, that's what the kids today expect. They expect their parents to give that to them. The problem is that when that kid turns 18 or 23 and they graduate high school or college, they're still expecting that. Now, maybe they're not expecting their parents to give it to them anymore, but they're still expecting somebody to give them that kind of stuff, or give them a job that will allow them to keep affording that. There is no notion that they need to earn it. But somebody owes it to them. And they turn to government oftentimes because they blame everybody else but themselves for their failures because they're spoiled brats. They expect everything to be handed to them. They expect everything to be given to them. They expect to start at the middle or the top of the ladder when it comes to work without proving anything. When I get out of college, I'm going to make six figures. How are you going to make six figures? You haven't proven you can actually do the job. Well, I have a degree. Yeah, so does everybody else. And plus, while you were getting a degree, there were people out there who are actually doing the job that you want, gaining experience in that job. So how are you more qualified than they are? And they're not earning six figures. Well, nobody sees that. So when they don't get the job they think they deserve, they want to blame everybody else. They don't want to take personal responsibility. Now, this comes to pass when you start thinking about welfare programs and government in the liberal mind thought. Hey, why not teach this person to be able to take care of themselves? Well, if you say that, and if you try to do that, you get the race baiters and race pimps like Al Sharpton who will come out and say, oh, no, that's racist. If you want brown people and black people to be responsible for themselves, that's because you're a racist. I mean, this is ludicrous. You have to be responsible for yourself, and the only way that you can be responsible for yourself is to have self-pride. Now, I know that we have all of this stuff in schools about self-esteem, and we try to teach kids, every child is special. Every child is special. You're a special little boy, and you're a special little girl, and you're all special. You're special, and well, if everybody's special, then nobody's special. And believe it or not, kids are starting to pick up on that. If they're looking around and they say, wait a minute, teacher just said I was special. Well, how is, but then she turned on and said Billy was special. Well, how is Billy? No, I'm more special than Billy. Kids are picking up on this. But we adults, especially liberal adults, they don't think that. They don't think kids can pick up on this stuff. Kids are sponges, man. They pick up on everything. It's why a child can often embarrass their parents because all of a sudden, it happens all the time. You're around little kids. You're around a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old or something, maybe even a 2-year-old, and they're learning to talk. And they're learning how to put, more than 2 words together. They're learning how to form a cognizant thought and then espousing that thought through voice, through vocabulary. They're picking up vocabulary at a rapid rate. And the child is talking, everybody thinks kids are so cute. Oh, isn't that cute? They're talking, blah, blah. The kids are blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden the kid drops the F-bomb. And everybody goes, oh, where did he learn that? Well, look, all the kid has to do is hear mom or dad or aunt or uncle or grandma or grandpa say it once at that age. It's in their brain. They got it, man. So when kids pick up stuff, and they will surprise the hell out of you at the worst possible time that they picked it up. So you keep telling all of these kids at the same time that they're all special. The kid starts to put 2 and 2 together and says, wait a minute. Well, then they start to think to themselves, well, you know what? I know we're all special, but I have to be more special than that guy. I got to be more special than Billy. And this breeds arrogance. And arrogance breeds expectation that is beyond the realm of reality. I'm not making this stuff up. This is Child Psychology 101, folks. And we've been doing this since the 80s. So is it any wonder that we've got a group of people now, a demographic, that thinks everything should be handed to them? And if they don't get what they want, they're going to huff, they're going to puff, they're going to pout, they're going to stay at home in mom and dad's basement, until they get what they want. And poor mom and dad, the good old baby boomers, well, first of all, they're half burnt out from smoking all the pot and doing all the LSD back in the 60s, and now they're just ready to become grandparents, but they don't think they're going to become grandparents anytime soon because little Johnny won't leave the basement. And so now they're stuck paying off their mortgage, paying off their kids' college education loan bills, because now they're strapped with those too. And they're still, running around trying to save enough to retire on, and then realize when they go to their accountant, the accountant says, "I'm sorry, Johnny Sr. and Mary, you're not going to be able to retire at 62 or 62 and a half like you originally planned. You're going to have to go until you're like 68 because Johnny Jr. is stuck in your basement." And these parents, they're either too scared or too ashamed to hold their children accountable. And so this breeds even more expectation. And then what do you get? You get a bunch of little brats that are now 18 to 23 years old running around on Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street, thinking they know everything, demanding to have jobs, demanding to have stuff given to them, without even thinking that they need to earn it. Because the expectation is that they're not responsible personally. Oh no, folks. You're responsible. You've got the welfare class. You try to tell them you can make it on your own. Oh no, don't even try to tell them that. They will give you every excuse and every reason in the book why they are stuck in public housing in the ghetto. And not one of those reasons or excuses is centered on them. It's all external, no internal. And it doesn't stop there in the poor neighborhoods. You go to the upper middle class and the rich neighborhoods, and those little brats, because they have exceptional income in their parents, they're even more self-centered. They even expect even more, and they blame others more. A little Johnny, Johnny Sr. gives Johnny Jr. when the kid turns 18 and graduating from high school, he gives him a new Mustang. Johnny Jr. takes a Mustang and is out there street racing. And he wraps it around the tree. But what happens to Johnny Jr.? Johnny Jr. wants to blame the cat that jumped out in front of him, not himself for doing 60 in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. No. It's not Johnny Jr.'s fault for doing something stupid. It's that cat's fault. And not only is it the cat's fault, it's the cat owner's fault for letting the cat out. Look, I'm not making this stuff up, folks. And if you've been paying attention over the past few years, I'm not making this up. This is reality. And yet we have liberals and a government mentality that wants to keep perpetuating this kind of stuff. They're not, liberals are not giving this stuff up. They're doubling down on it. Oh, we need to spend more money on social programs, on welfare, because, we're not spending enough. Look at these people who are still poor. They're still living in dilapidated government housing. Well, whose fault they're living in dilapidated government housing? The government's supposed to be taking care of government housing, right? They're supposed to be keeping it up and repairing it, and they're not. And they get so bad that the only thing that the government can do is do what? Tear it down. And when they go to tear it down, what do you have? People say, they're tearing down my house. How come they're tearing down my house? Well, honey, it's not your house. It's not. Go out and buy your own dang house. I can't buy my house because the government it ain't the government. It's because that rich man down the street over there that owns that business, he won't pay me $20 an hour. Well, do you do more than just flip burgers and fry the fries? Do you have any skills? No, I don't need no skills. I'm a good person. I know I can do any job they ask me to do. If they just give me a chance, I know I can. But you have no qualifications. Well, it ain't my fault I don't have no qualifications. Well, why didn't you go to school? I did, but they weren't teaching me nothing, so I dropped out. They're making an excuse. Again, this is not stuff I'm making up. And the government doubles down on this stuff. Check this out. This is the story I meant to bring to you yesterday. The Washington Free Beacon. The federal government considers Puerto Ricans. Now, Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens because Puerto Rico is an American possession. It's not a territory, it's a possession. So Puerto Ricans are full-bred American citizens. They get to vote, for president. They get a say in our federal government. The feds consider Puerto Ricans disabled. Puerto Ricans, Americans, they consider them disabled because they speak Spanish and not English. That is the reason for their disability. The government has just said that they're going to give them 95% of Puerto Ricans who speak Spanish are going to get Social Security benefits or can apply for Social Security benefits because they have a disability that has been determined by the government. The reason is they cannot speak English. It's just as bad as you saying, okay, you want to sit down and eat 5 hamburgers every day, and you end up weighing 500 pounds. Well, the government says, well, now that you're obese, deathly obese, well, it's not your fault. You have a fat disability. So we're going to give you this, this cute little card that lets you park up front, and you're going to get Social Security benefits and this kind of benefit. Well, how about the person just lose some weight? Oh no, Rod, that's just mean and cruel. Well, their health will improve. They will save on medical bills. They will save on a lot of other things as well if they improve their health. That's just mean, Rod. How can you be so cruel? It's not their fault they're fat. I don't know. Last time I checked, I didn't shovel the food in their mouth. Last time I checked, I'm not the one that dropped out of school. Last time I checked, it's not me who forced little Johnny to drive down a 30-mile-per-hour a zone doing double the speed limit. That's not my fault either. But you're telling me because all of that happened, it is my fault. And it's my fault that I don't want to pay for them. I'm just mean and cruel. I think it's mean and cruel that you keep telling these people that it's not their fault so that you feel better about giving them a handout. That's worse. That's not better. That's cruel. That's evil. That's inhumane. And all it is another form of slavery. Don't doubt me.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Yeah, that rant of the week went a little bit long, but I couldn't chop it up any more than it was. I had to play the whole thing for you. But I don't know. Do you think it was good? I think it was good. But don't go anywhere. We're not done. Back in a moment. Going to get to more of this global warming stuff. Call Rod now. 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
Welcome back. 603-835-3226 is the call-in number. We almost forgot something this morning, and that is the wonderful list of today's holidays for Friday, June 2, 2017. Today is Hug an Atheist Day. Folks, I'm not joking. Today is also I Love My Dentist Day. I don't care what day. They can have all the holidays they want for dentist. I don't love any of my dentist. I never have that. Because whenever they go, even when there's nothing wrong, they always go poking around with sharp instruments, and they always poke. It hurts going to the dentist. I don't love any dentist. Dental, well, I won't get into the dentist scam, but there is a health scam in dentistry. Now, there is also some very good benefits of going to the dentist on a regular basis, but as often as they would like you to go. Now, the traditional sense you're supposed to go twice a year. Not anymore, folks. It's now up to 3 times a year. I don't think that's necessary. And if you have good oral hygiene to begin with, even going once a year is plenty. I'm fastidious about trying to keep my mouth clean because I don't want to go to the dentist and have them do anything more than they absolutely have to. I don't want them sticking needles in my mouth or poking around and pressing on. Let's see. This looks like it looks like a cavity, and they go poking around in there, and you wince. Oh, does that hurt? No. It's like being on vacation in a spa. Of course it hurts, you twit. So, I don't even know why they got to go poking around if they can take x-rays of everything. But they do. I swear to God, they do that. You got to be a masochist, kind of, to be a dentist. If you're a dentist out there, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. I'm not telling people not to go to the dentist, because if you have, oral issues, and dentists can pick up on some health issues early on as well, but it just gets to the point where it's just too much. But today is I Love My Dentist Day. Today is also National Bubba Day. I have no idea what that's about. I didn't even bother. I looked at that and thought, I'm not even going to bother trying to look that up because I don't want to be so shocked and dismayed by it. Today is also National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Now, I wonder if it's apropos because it starts the weekend off. So I wonder if they're going to observe this in Chicago this weekend. We'll let you know on Monday. Today is also National Rocky Road Day. That wonderful ice cream that so many people love and enjoy. Don't eat too much of it. And today is National Leave the Office Early Day. Well, this is a day that it's not observed on any specific date, but it's observed to the closest weekend to June 2nd as possible. So leave the office early day and go out and get you some Rocky Road, along with it being National Donut Day. So go out and get you a donut today as well. Over the last weekend, I had something absolutely delicious that I'd never even thought of before, but grilled donuts with vanilla mousse. Oh, that was delish, folks. I mean, that's probably going to be the newest state fair, eating fair, if you will, this year. It's probably going to be grilled. Why not? They deep fry everything, so why not try something grilled? Well, they didn't add any fat to it, I guess, by grilling it instead of deep frying it. I think they already have deep fried donuts, don't they? You know, why not? They got deep fried butter. Never forget that. Go to the state fair and say, try the new deep fried butter. Now, people have gone way over the top in this kind of crap. But, yeah, it's National Donut Day. Today is also Yell Fudge at the Cobras in North America Day. I don't know. You got me on that one. And lastly, but not leastly, today is American Indian Citizenship Day. Now, that one intrigued me. So this is a story behind that. With the Congress's passage of the Indian Citizenship Act on June 2nd, 1924, the government of the United States confers citizenship on all Native Americans born within the territorial limits of the country before the Civil War. Citizenship was often limited to Native Americans of one half or less Indian blood. So you had to be a half-breed. Remember wasn't one of Cher's big songs called Half-Breed? Yeah, so those are the holidays for today. I think donuts are fried when they're first made, but doesn't mean that you can't deep fry it. You put it in batter and deep fry it again. But the grilled donuts, talk about a different flavor. Wow, it was glazed donuts too, grilled. I don't know how you do that, but the person did. The grilling expert of the weekend, she did an amazing job. She cut them in half and grilled them, and then plopped vanilla mousse on top of them. That was delish. Anyway, so try that this weekend if you want. Go out and get you. Today, the donuts are probably a little bit cheaper, especially at Dunkin' Donuts. Some places. There is a movement, by the way, speaking of Dunkin' Donuts, there's a movement to get people to drop Starbucks and go to Dunkin' Donuts, because Dunkin' Donuts, evidently, I didn't know this, and Dunkin' Donuts is headquartered here in New England. Evidently, Dunkin' Donuts is run by a bunch of conservatives. Where, as we all know, Starbucks is definitely not conservative. So that's it. I like Dunkin' Donuts. It's not the world's greatest coffee. By far, it's not. It's definitely not the world's worst coffee. By far, it's not. It's middle of the road. But it's about, for cup, ounce for ounce, it's about half the price of Starbucks, by the way. I mean, for $2 you can get a medium, a grande at which is a medium at Star. I know you go in, they ask for a medium, and they look at you like you got two heads. Grande, please. Got to be all pretentious when you go into Starbucks. And so that's about $4 for that, and it's about $2 plus tax, whatever your taxes are. So I didn't. Now now I don't know if that's true, but that's what I saw it yesterday. There is a meme going around in social media that says that Dunkin'. No, I don't know. Maybe it got started by Dunkin' Donuts. I didn't check into it. I'm just telling you what I saw, and evidently, some people believe anyway that Dunkin' Donuts is run by. Now I don't know why. I tend to believe it because I don't think Dunkin' Donuts would say it. Being headquartered in New England, I think they're headquartered in Connecticut. And we know Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts are not conservative outposts. They're liberal bastions. So I don't think they would say it to try to get conservative business because they're in a liberal enclave. They'd be going after the liberals. But evidently, so that's why I'm thinking that it might be there might be some truth to that. In any case, you look at the logic surrounding it, folks. I mean, headquartered in Connecticut, near the Massachusetts border. I do believe they originated in Mass, out in like Springfield or somewhere out in that area. I don't know my Dunkin' Donuts history all that well. I know, shame on me. Terrible New Englander not knowing Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts, for those of you who don't know, here in New England, Dunkin' Donuts are about as prevalent as gas stations. And indeed, there are many a Dunkin' Donuts located within many a gas station here. I kid you not. And if you're from New England, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, this is Dunkin' Donuts heaven here in New England. But so if you're looking for an alternative and you got a Dunkin' Donuts near you, try out. I also understand that is true of Krispy Kreme. Now, Krispy Kreme coffee actually is, in my opinion, is kind of awful, but their donuts are so good. But which is probably why Krispy Kreme had to pull out of most of New England, because they probably were too conservative for them. But that and the fact that the whole anti-carb thing hit just at the same time that Krispy Kreme was overexpanding. And talk about a perfect storm. It was awful. I got a Krispy Kreme that was within an hour and a half drive of me, and about a year later it closed. Why? Because everybody got on, especially here, everybody got onto this anti-carb thing. And that's what Krispy Kreme was just donuts. And donuts are what? Carbs. That killed them. So it's, well, it is what it is. But does anybody remember, speaking of Springfield, anybody remember which Springfield that the Simpsons live in? You know, there's like a half a dozen. I never saw the episode where they actually said which state the Springfield the Simpsons were lived in. I don't watch the Simpsons, but I do remember them. Which Springfield do the Simpsons live in? It was like a contest or something too. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I pick up these little bits and pieces over the years, and it just sort of sticks with me. I don't know why, but it does. Back to this wonderful stuff of the Paris Climate Accord. Bob Iger exits a Trump Advisory Council over his Paris Accord withdrawal. Folks, you realize that the Paris Accord is not a treaty? It's not a treaty. It's an agreement. And if you look at what's in this agreement, there is nothing that really makes every single country stick, because it's not a treaty. So if a receivership country, a country that's getting money, goes off the rails a little bit, they're still going to get the money. So this whole notion that the Weather Channel says, well, 125 nations signed on after China signed on. Well, because China is set to get money from the rest of the world for being a part of this. So many of those 125 nations said, well, hey, it's free money. United Nations is going to channel money from places like Britain and the USA over to us. Sounds good to me. You're a banana republic potentate. You're going to take that deal. I mean, it's insidious. And this arbitrary number, 2 degrees Celsius, that's it. Now, if you just want to use whole numbers, that's about 1 degree. We're going to keep the planet from warming up by 1 degree over the next 80 years with this accord. In other words, it's not going to do jack, but it's going to cost this country trillions of dollars. And I know some people are saying, well, no, it's only going to cost us $3 billion a year. No, it's not. It's going to cost the American people a lot more than $3 billion a year. First of all, it's going to cost us the $3 billion in our tax dollars going to some country that doesn't deserve it, including China. Not to mention the fact that the cost of electricity and gasoline and heating oil is going to go through the roof. Because we're going to have to reduce a 26% cut in CO2 emissions from 2005 levels. That's a massive cut. Well, how do you do that? Well, that means that the government is going to have to prop up all these alternative green industries like they did with Solyndra. Remember that? You have to start putting solar panels in everybody's roofs again and building solar fields. But you can't build a solar field. Why? And you can't build wind generations. Why? Because you got a bunch of environmentalist wackos out there who say that even those things are going to harm the environment. You know, as far as solar fields are concerned, some little desert flower and some little desert lizard is going to be adversely impacted if we build solar fields. Don't we have a couple of solar panel producing plants out there in the West? It wasn't Elon Musk behind those. They don't work. They're not producing anywhere near the amount of electricity that they promised, and it's nowhere near the low cost that they told us it was going to be. I mean, what a waste of billions of dollars, and there's a lot of tax money that's been dumped into those projects. And if you want to build wind power, oh, God forbid you put up a wind. Now, I understand that they're not very pretty. I understand that they can, if you're near them, they can be quite noisy. But so you had some people, some industry that wanted to put them off the coast of Massachusetts. No, you can't do that because all the hoity-toity people like the Kennedys, they were going to look out over the ocean and see them. That was going to ruin their oceanic view. So then the company said, well, we'll put them out past the horizon. And then, you're not going to be able to see them unless you get in your yacht and travel a couple of miles towards the horizon or before you see them. So that ended that argument, you thought. Then the argument came up, well, no, we can't do that because those wind generations, they kill millions of birds every year. Now, I'm not saying they don't kill birds, but for crying out loud, birds get spooked by the smallest of sounds. And any bird that goes to a wind turbine field with all that noise, they probably deserve to get literally whacked.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement. in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Warning. Listening to the Rod Eccles Show by the Idiot Left may cause outrage, fear, a need for safety pins and/or spaces. If you experience any of these symptoms or are allergic to truth, tune in and learn something.
Three 835-3226. Welcome back. Got the what do we got here? We got something here from the new French President Macron. Is that how you pronounce it in French? Macron. And he's taking the president Donald Trump to task on. Hey, he says, renegotiation of the Paris Agreement is not possible. Is possible, not at all. Here's what he said. His entire 3-minute French-style tirade.
Now, let me say a few words to our American friends. Climate change is one of the major issues of our time. It is already changing our daily lives, but it is global. Everyone is impacted. And if we do nothing, our children will know a world of migrations, of wars, of shortage. A dangerous world.
Sounds like history.
It is not the future we want for ourselves. It is not the future we want for our children. It is not the future we want for our world. Today, the President of the United States...
Notice he said our world twice.
...announced his decision to withdraw the United States from the Paris Agreement. I do respect this decision, but I do think it is an actual mistake, both for the US and for our planet. I just said President Trump in a few words a few minutes ago this assessment. Tonight, I wish to tell the United States, France believes in you. The world believes in you. I know that you are a great nation. I know your history, our common history. To all scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, responsible citizens who were disappointed by the decision of the President of the United States, I want to say that they will find in France a second homeland. I call on them,
citizens of the world,
and work here with us.
Yeah, that's the French president talking about, being citizens of the world, because we don't want our children to grow up in a world where there's shortages and war. Oh, you mean much like our history? Yeah, so world history, if you want to go that way. World history.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition, first thing I thought of was who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me. My doctor recommended Prevactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Prevactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother,
You don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back. It is I, your lovable host. Here we are on this wonderful Friday morning.
Welcome to Freedom Friday.
Yes, here it is, Friday, June number 2 in the year of our Lord 2017. It is hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. The fastest 3 hours on Internet Talk Radio is right here. We will be trying to doing the test today, the video test. We'll be trying to fire that up at the bottom of the hour and see if we can get the... I've been fiddling around with this software. I just want to see if the software is... It's just a test, folks. You know, we'll do it for a segment. And as a prelude to what is coming up in the fall of this year, got to make sure that all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed before you try to roll this kind of stuff out. I never thought it'd be this complicated, but the problem is that you got so much stuff out there that doesn't really work well with each other. Now you think it's all software, and software should probably, in this day and age, you think they'd all work, use the same kind of base, if you will, base code, and would work well together. Nah, that's not the case. I'm finding that out even today, that all this software, a lot of the software, because they all want to be proprietary. They want you to use only their stuff, and it doesn't play well with others. I mean, you'll find something and it plays great with Facebook, but it's not the same way it's going to work with YouTube, and YouTube doesn't like that YouTube doesn't, and Google Hangouts doesn't like it that you're playing well with Facebook, so they make it difficult for anything that works with Facebook to work equally well at the same damn time over there. And of course, then you got Twitter's Periscope, Well, Periscope is it's a mess, and you get certain software that says that it does something, and then you go and you try to do it, and you got to jump through all kinds of hoop and coding. And I'm looking at this stuff. Well, this is a bunch of Greek to me. Why the hell do I? And if you try to reconfigure it, it's like Spreaker is not all that easy to utilize, folks. Let me tell you something. If you configure Spreaker to work the way it needs to work in order to take phone calls either from Skype or other outside phone sources, it cuts, because if you have to use this so-called virtual cable, it cuts off half of your internal microphone array. So in other words, if you want to record if I want to record something on this computer that I use to broadcast, the main computer I use to broadcast, I've got to go back in and reconfigure my computer so it'll work off of Spreaker. And then I got to go back in and reconfigure it back to Spreaker because this stuff doesn't play well with each other. I mean, you think they would just make it, I shouldn't even have to program anything. But you got to go in and configure all this stuff, and it's just insane. And if you configure something to work with one, then it might not work with another one. So if you want all that stuff to work, then you got to go out and buy an external mixing board. And you can't use this mixing board because the software of this mixing board isn't compatible with this particular program. So you got to go out and get a bigger mixing board where you can have a bunch of different channels. You can configure each channel individually. And then you can put it all into one cable to go out to another computer. It's insane. No wonder you look at some of these broadcast booths in some of these places, and you figure you'd think that today, with all today's technology, that they'd be able to eliminate at least half that equipment. Well, the reason why so many broadcasters still have all that equipment is because the software doesn't play nicely with each other. I'm learning this firsthand, and it's frustrating. It really pisses you off. Because then you start asking questions, well, how do I get it to work with this and this? And invariably the answer is, well, you need this piece of software or this piece of hardware in order to make that. Why do I need to go out and buy more? Why doesn't somebody just come up with a single package where it plays well with everything, and I don't have to keep adding on? Because invariably you get that added piece and you configure it and it screws something else up. It's in broadcasting 101. I'm learning firsthand. If I want to turn this into a network, the cost of turning it to starting a network off of YouTube is just rising and rising and rising every time I try something. So you end up having to, and again, it's because they don't want you to play nicely with somebody else, because they want you to dump all your content only on their platform. I mean, it's why Facebook. Does people know about the algorithms in Facebook? Facebook has changed their algorithms such that if you have a video that is imported, especially from YouTube, that reach is going to be slashed like you would not believe. You have to upload it directly to Facebook in order to get any kind of reach on Facebook for that video. It's incredible. Because Facebook doesn't want you to play on YouTube. They want you to only play on Facebook. And YouTube knows this. They're Google. They don't want you to play on Facebook. They want you to share on Facebook. So you got to play only on YouTube. Even after YouTube has did what they did and you get a bunch of people out there who are still complaining about the change in YouTube's advertising platform. So some people have lost. Some people will say they've lost as much as 80% of their income from YouTube because of that change. But YouTube still wants you to only play on YouTube. Well, hello. They're all trying to ensnare you to be only on their platform, and nobody wants to come up with a simple solution to incorporate all those platforms. Now, from what I understand, Twitter is about to do something different with Periscope because they want to. Video's the way to is where everything's going. So they want to be able to compete with Facebook and YouTube, and Twitter sees how people are staying on the platform longer and longer with Facebook videos. So Periscope is tied into Twitter. Twitter wants the same thing. That's why you see all that live video stuff on Twitter now. Because they want to do the same thing. They want to trap you onto their platform. Now, I'm not blaming them for it. I get it. It's all about the revenue generation, ads, and all that kind of stuff. But for crying out loud, when you make it so difficult for people to actually give them content for free, understand. Well, some platforms actually charge you to put your content up there, but for the most part, they're getting all this content for free. And they're making it more and more difficult for people to actually give them it's an insane business model. Let's start a platform or a network, social media site, and where all our content is user generated. But let's make it as difficult as possible for those users to share their content. But hey, they all seem to, they all seem to be doing okay with it, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm one of those, one of those logical people that thinks if you want people to access stuff, you should make it as simplistic as possible. But that's just me. I don't know. I mean, I look for all kinds of ways to make it more simplistic and for people to access this program. And what you run into is brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. It's really highly, highly frustrating. Well, yes, the trials and tribulations in this day. Well, it's still a lot cheaper than doing it the old-fashioned way, I guess. Anyway, did you know that remember the DC sniper Lee Boyd Malvo? Well, his life sentence has been thrown out, and he's going to be resentenced. I guess he was too young to get a life sentence. I don't know. Just letting you know that's out there. Paris Climate Agreement. What you need to know about this thing. What is the Paris Climate Agreement? It's 190 plus nations, including the U.S. under President Obama's administration. It's what they agreed to in 2015 to voluntarily reduce their greenhouse gas emissions in an effort to combat non-existent climate change. I threw non-existent in there. Now, the countries each get to set their own emissions target. However, none of these goals are legally binding because this is not a treaty. The priority is to strengthen the global response to the threat of climate change, make that man-made climate change, keeping a global temperature rise this century well below 2 degrees Celsius, above pre-industrial levels, and to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase even further to 1.5 degrees Celsius, according to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Now, how do they know what the mean temperature? Well, now, folks, this is pre-industrial revolution. Do you realize this is something else that is not known? Pre-industrial revolution? Well, that puts us back into what? Victorian times, King Charles time. That's at a time when there was what we call today a mini ice age. There was snow in London. Charles Dickens' novels tell us this. We know this to be true. People, England was using peat and coal like crazy to keep warm because it was so freaking cold. So they're basing this whole global climate change off of mini ice age temperatures. Well, unless you stay in that ice age, of course things are going to warm up. The Ice Age was an anomaly. It's not, we go back in time, we have the real Ice Age, when half the continent was covered in ice. Well, why don't we just go back to that point in time and determine, we shouldn't let the Earth warm up any beyond what it was in the Ice Age? This is ridiculous. At the start of the Industrial Revolution, you got the northern half of the world was in a mini Ice Age. Temperatures were cooler than normal. Why don't we go back to the 10th century when temperatures were warmer than normal, when we had an explosion in the human population because food was being able to be grown for longer periods of time in places where it normally wasn't being able to be grown for so long throughout the year. You could have 2 crops in certain places where before, because of the climate, you can only have 1. Why don't we base it on that? Then we'd be back in global cooling. Now the Earth is cooling off because of based on those. This whole thing is incredibly stupid because it's based on an arbitrary number, because there is no perfect climate on this planet. We don't know what it is. We're basing it on a false notion to begin with. And if you have junk science going in, you're going to get junk science coming out.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
603-835-3226. Now, there's more junk in this climate accord based on junk science, then you can, well, what's the old saying? You can shake a stick at. And the U.S. basically the U.S. is pledging to lower its annual greenhouse emissions according to the April 2016 agreement signed by the Obama administration, is to lower its greenhouse gas emissions in 2025 by 26 to 28% below 2005 levels, which would be a reduction of about 1.6 billion tons of annual emissions, which means there are a number of coal plants that have to go offline. We're talking even clean coal that have to go offline in order to make this happen, which means that we're going to have to build more. We're not even trying to replace any of this stuff with nuclear. Now, I'm not a huge nuclear energy person. We've got it's not due to lack of safety. This has already been proven how safe this stuff is here in this country, at least, and well, around the world actually, it's pretty damn safe. I know when there is an accident, it gets to be pretty serious, but they're so rare. And so, well, any power producing plant, the accident rate is extremely low. But I think there are a couple of new nuclear plants that are on the drawing boards now for the first time in decades. I don't know how far we've gotten with those, but I'm not a huge nuclear plant power person, but I do believe that it should be a part of our mix. But nuclear plants are not cheap. That's the main problem with them. They're as we say here in New England, they're wicked expensive, which means that the energy that they produce is wicked expensive. That's the reason for not building them. It's not going to bring the cost of energy down. It's not going to make it affordable. Forget just that it uses nuclear fuel, but it's just these things are just overly expensive. But developed nations also are supposed to, developed nations like the U.S. are supposed to offer financial aid and incentives to developing nations so they can move towards cleaner, green energy sources. So, in other words, we're supposed to pay for, third world countries who are now starting to feel their oats and trying to move into the 20th century and industrialize. We're supposed to give them money and equipment and information and knowledge with green sources. So I guess that means we're supposed to build solar plants for them. I don't know how. We get solar plants here, solar producing plants here in the USA are closing left and right. China has committed to dropping 100 coal-fired or powered power plants in favor of solar. Well, hey, they've got plenty of, solar panel producing capacity, I guess, so maybe they can. Where are they going to put all those solar? Are they going to put those solar panels on the Great Wall? I'm serious. Where the hell are they going to put all those solar panels to replace 100 coal-fired plants? I don't see China building nuclear plants either. Why? Because it's just too damn expensive. And since when is China so concerned about the environment? This is the country that built the Three Rivers Gorge Dam on the main river of this is the Yangtze. I mean, and basically they had to relocate hundreds of towns, ancient towns along the river. They had to relocate them because they were going to be underwater. And yeah, indeed, they now are. After the dam was built and went into operation, so they've created this humongous series of large river and man-made lakes in China because of this, and it was wreaked havoc on the environment there. So I guess China isn't going to do that again, but well that Three Rivers Gorge Dam was not cheap for China to build. Even with their low wage, near slave wages that they paid some of these people, it still wasn't cheap for them to build. which is why they were turning to coal. Which is why they don't build. China could build nuclear plants, but they're too costly. Not to mention you got half the world that say, no, you can't have nuclear. We want to be a nuclear-free world. We don't want nuclear power because nuclear power means nuclear weapons. We can't have nuclear weapons. This stuff is just a name. So we're supposed to reduce our so the U.S. is the world's second largest emitter of carbon, they say, while China takes the top spot and India is third. Beijing, however, has reaffirmed its commitment to meeting its targets under the Paris Accord, canceling construction of about 100 coal-fired power plants and investing billions in massive wind and solar projects. I don't know where they're going to put all that stuff. I guess that doesn't count. Or they don't care about that.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came, defeat the would-be dictators, and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Bring the rain.
Welcome back. Well, we tried to connect with the Periscope and the Hangouts, but for some reason it's not connecting to get the video up. But see, I told you, this is why you test. When you test things, you think you got things all pat down, and then something else happens when you actually try to do something, and it says you can't do it this way. Well, then why did you tell me I could do it this way, and I go to do it that way, and there's something else screwed up somewhere? Sorry, folks. We'll try to get this again. We'll get it yet. Yeah, this is a learning curve before us here. But we'll get it. Promise you on that. Not. Just some of this stuff is just really so. Yeah, well, you never fully understand why things have to be so difficult. But again, it's simply because they don't want things to play nicely with each other. So we will obviously continue trying to figure that mess out so we actually have the video, and we'll try a test again next week. The Paris Climate Agreement. What would happen to the climate if we stop emitting greenhouse gases today? Well, according to IFLscience.com, not much. Earth's climate is changing. Wait, actually, I have something here. Something else. I knew I saw this before, and here it is in my currently cigar nicotine-stained fingers in the paper pile. And from November of 1922, there was an article published about Arctic oceans getting warm. Seals were vanishing and icebergs were melting. Back in 1922, yes. The Arctic Ocean is warming up, icebergs are growing scarcer, and in some places the seals are finding the water too hot. According to a report to the Commerce Department yesterday, the consul at Bergen, Norway, reports from fishermen, seal hunters, and explorers declared all points to a radical change in climate conditions and hitherto unheard of temperatures in the Arctic zone. Exploration expeditions report that scarcely any ice has been met with as far north as 81 degrees 29 minutes. The soundings to depths of 3,100 meters showed the Gulf Stream still very warm. Were they using the metric system back in 1922? I don't think so. Does anybody know when the metric system was developed? I don't recall. But great masses of ice have been replaced by moraines of earth and stones. Oh! The report continued, while at many points well-known glaciers have entirely disappeared, very few seals and no whitefish are found in the eastern Arctic. This was 1922, and it was being based on an article and reports going back to 1909. So what are we, like not even 50 years into the Industrial Revolution, and all hell is breaking loose in the Arctic because everything is melting due to mankind. And yet, we've got tons of ice in the Arctic today. So are there periods of time? Yes, there have been periods of time. We have historical documents that show periods of time when the poles have been void of much of its ice. We have periods in time when the ocean levels are so low because of all the ice during the Ice Age that man was building cities that are now underwater. Was that global warming? Well, yeah, it was global warming that got rid of the Ice Age. But it was naturally occurring, was it not? Folks, I mean, it's just, this stuff is just, it's so inane. So inane. There was even, there's a story here somewhere in the paper pile where there was a scientific experiment done on greenhouse gases back in the early 1900s using CO2. And that the scientific study or experiment proved that there was no significant warming with massive amounts of CO2 in the atmosphere. And so then there was somebody else who recently from Princeton did a new study and said there were so many flaws in it. Like, how difficult is it to do a scientific study? You build an atmosphere in a box that has the CO2 in it. And you build a box with an atmosphere in it that is the control. No CO2. And then you put a sun source on them and you measure the temperature differences. That is what the original scientist did. And he found negligible increases versus the CO2 versus the non-CO2. But that scientific experiment, that's full of flaws. I'm not a scientist, so I'm going to defer to those people who are scientists, but it seems like to me that they are trying to make stuff appear and happen that doesn't happen in the natural world. And we saw a lot of this stuff with anybody remember the East Anglia University emails that were hacked a few years ago and released? Didn't we see all that wonderful admission to fake data? Didn't we see some emails that were hacked out of Princeton, out of UCLA, out of, not UCLA, UPenn, Pennsylvania University, and Harvard? Emails that went along with the East Anglia stuff, showing and proving that they were faking data. And this is the data that they're still utilizing today for this Paris Accord, by the way. They picked a point in time on purpose in order to prove that the temperatures are rising on this planet. You have to go back to a point in time where temperatures were cooler, preferably a point in time during or after the so-called start of the Industrial Revolution. Well, that would be the end of the last mini ice age in the 1880s. Pick that time frame when the Earth's temperatures were much cooler than they are today, and say, well, we need to go back to those temperatures. Because anything above that is bad, 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 bad. Forgetting the historical record that temperatures were also warmer than they are today back in the 10th century, or was it 10th or 11th century. And obviously, because of the lack of human population back then and no industrial revolution, we had nothing to do with that warm up. So you can't go back to that time period. Oh no, because that would disprove all their theories. So you got to go back to a point in time when it was unnaturally cold. That's their starting point, folks. Don't doubt me. This is a scam from the beginning. It is not real. And of course, if you go ahead and you try to tell the wonderful, man-made global climate change believers, you show them all the evidence that you're correct, they're still not going to believe you and call you a denier. So you're not going to win with some people. But the fact is, it's a farce, folks. It's a complete and utter farce. No, I don't know how else to say it, but that's exactly what it is. By the way, so on to some other news. We spent the entire program on this climate change crap. By the way, did you know that India and China, well, China says, but India, here it is, from Reuters, China and India plans for electric cars threaten to cut gasoline demand. Oh, God forbid they cut gas demand. Well, aren't we trying to do that by improving gas mileage in cars, in trucks? Yeah, we are. But, this is critical, folks. They're trying to cut the demand for gasoline. Demand for gas in Asia may peak much earlier than expected as millions of people in China and India buy electric vehicles over the next decade, because in India they're going to be forced to, whether they want them or not. Threatening wrenching change for the oil industry. Oil and auto company executives warn. So wouldn't that cause war, too? Because, the Middle East, OPEC, they get their money from what? Oil. They have no other industry. They make billions of dollars every year off of oil. Wouldn't that affect their economies? Wouldn't, that they talk about the reason for terrorism is because these young people don't have jobs and they're so poor. Well, would they not even be poorer if they didn't have oil? Just tossing that out there, folks. I don't know. What do I know? I just read the news and believe what they tell me. And put it all together, put all the pieces together, but other than that, what do I know? Speaking of media, of which I am not a member of the lamestream media, but I guess I am a member of the media, but not the lamestream media. There's two different medias out there. There's the truth media, and then there's the lamestream media. 53% say that media leaks are act of treason, according to Rasmussen reports. Yeah, these people are, when politics is the name of the game, one man's treason is another man's service to the nation. The latest Rasmussen reports national telephone and online survey finds that just over half, 53% of all likely U.S. voters still consider the leaking of classified information to the media to be an act of treason, while only 30% disagree and 18% are still undecided. This is largely the same way voters felt in November of 2010 following the WikiLeaks publication of top-secret U.S. government data related to the war in Afghanistan and other defense and foreign policy issues. But while 73% of Republicans consider the leaking of classified information which plagues the Trump administration as treasonous, only half as many, 36% of Democrats feel that way. Voters who are not affiliated with either of the two major parties agree that 50% say it is treasonous to 27% that say it's not, that the leaks are act of treason. Now, I'm not going to go with the length of saying that it is treasonous, but it is highly illegal. Without even rising to the level of treason, it's still illegal. And of course, when you only have 30% of Democrats saying, or 36% of Democrats feel that it is treasonous, well, that explains a lot, does it not? Go ahead and leak all this stuff out. Now, forget, what kind of turmoil and trouble it can cause the United States government and its allies and its operatives around the world. Yeah, just go ahead. We got spies over there. Well, we shouldn't have spies. So go ahead and name who the spies are, so they can be killed. Sure, the Democrats don't find anything wrong with that. Only 36% of them think there's something wrong with that. The rest of them, 2/3 Democrats don't find a problem with that. None at all. Go ahead and expose all the government secrets. We shouldn't be hiding nothing, Rod. It should all be. We want open government. Everything should be out in the open. Nothing should be secret.
What if I told you that you could lose weight simply by drinking coffee? Change your coffee, change your life. Our gourmet estate-grown coffee is infused with powerful herbs that help you melt fat and keep you from feeling hungry for 6+ hours. Get results or your money back. Order yours today at skinnycoffeeshop.com. That's skinnycoffeeshop.com. Tea and water also available. skinnycoffeeshop.com.
Have a legal problem and need some serious legal advice? Then you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Any facts we say here are probably wrong, and any analysis of the law should not be followed.
There you go. Reasonable men are here to take a twisted look at the law.
Stack your hayride.
Learn in hand. Best name in law school.
Check us out on iTunes, reasonablemen.com, or on your favorite podcast app.
Reasonable men are back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And welcome back. So we have all these wonderful people out there telling us that, Democrats especially, telling us that it is okay to go ahead and expose people to the wonderful world of leaks, because it's the way that you keep your government from doing bad things, I guess. I can't make this stuff up, folks. I can't help you with the Now, finally today, I'm about to enter into an area that maybe I probably shouldn't. But if you haven't heard, this is being reported by the Inquisitor.com. There is new Pulse Club massacre footage that's been released, and the club itself is due to become a memorial and a museum. Now I know I'm going to sound a little insensitive about this, folks, but why is it that every time that there is a tragedy, we have to somehow memorialize it? And so now we want to turn this entire... Now, evidently, the owner of the Pulse nightclub is planning to reopen the club in a different location, and thus turn the current building into a memorial and a museum. Now, what kind of macabre museum is that going to be? Why must we turn every single tragedy and every place there is a tragedy into a memorial? I am not trying to lessen the impact of this tragedy. It was terrible. But should we not move on? I mean, life is for the living. How many places are we going to take away from the living so we can continually, forever, mourn the dead? We have other places for that. And look, it has nothing to do because this was a gay nightclub. Everything to do that this is prime real estate that is now going to be utilized for what? For going back over and over again over that awful night? Which could have been prevented because that man's father should have never been allowed in the United States, by the way. So now we're going to memorialize this and turn it into a memorial and a museum. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't go to places like that. You know, the memorials that I would go to are military memorials. And again, I'm not denigrating those who were injured or who were killed in that night. It was a horrific act. But we have this notion that in order to, what we seem to think, in order to preserve our past, we've got to take away from the present. Well, let me give you an example for a less macabre thing. Is that the house in A Christmas Story? Remember the house with the leg lamp? That is now a museum. Now I disagree with that. Yeah, you don't turn that into... It's a house in a neighborhood. Call me insensitive if you will, but I think we get... This is just the progression of having a society that is far too sensitive and completely and totally wrapped up in their own emotions instead of looking around and saying, what can we do because of this tragedy to make things better? Turning things into museums doesn't make things better, and it doesn't cause people to remember things any more than they normally would. It's all about feeling good about something. I feel so much better now that I've done something. You've done nothing, actually. Probably done more to harm people's psyche than to help them with this type of immortalization. Anyway, we're out of time for today and this week. Had so much more to go over with you, but we're going to have to tackle it next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For a Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Oppo file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.